Feel Good Friday. Munson here with the expatsportugal.com Good Morning Portugal show. How on earth are you this morning? Again, the echo, Carl. Is it the voices in your head though, Matty, or is it actually me? Let's find out. Let's see if anyone else is hearing that, or if we need to get some medication for Matty. Joining me this morning on this very special Feel Good Friday is Elaine Godley, live from the Algarve in Portugal. How are you this morning, Elaine?
I'm absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Carl, for inviting me again. Lovely to be here.
You look fabulous, if I may say so.
Thank you, darling. So do you.
Oh, too kind. Okay. Oh, I'm blushing now. Okay, well, welcome back, because it was a year ago, I think, that or thereabouts, when you first joined us, and we were in quite a primitive condition by comparison. I speak for myself, not for you there. With basic stuff, we started a show to help people stay informed of what was going on in the pandemic Portugal. And look at us now, a great big community who want to say hello to you this morning. You did make a little bit of a comment this morning about when you reviewed the video, you looked a little bit different a year ago, you said.
Well, I was quite shocked. When I look back, it was February 2020. I was still living at a farm, and it was just before I came out in March 2020. And when I look back now, I look like my mother. I compared now, after living in Portugal for 18 months, whatever it is. I'm looking more like my daughter than my mother, so I'm quite chuffed about that.
Excellent stuff. So the lifestyle's suiting you, is it? And you're loving it down in the Algarve?
It is. Yes, it is.
I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so as I said, we've got a bigger community now. Lots of people sending in lovely photographs and comments. And we say happy birthday to Pamela Smith this morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Slightly belated. Sorry, Pam. I was hoping to wish you a happy birthday on the webinar last night. Completely forgot. My bad. But probably all the better for doing it on a Feel Good Friday this morning. So I hope you had a great day yesterday, Pam. Part of our Ask Our Expats team. An expert on the Alcobaça Silver Coast area. So parabéns a você. Slightly later than I would have hoped there, Pam. And sunrises. We're getting into the habit of starting with sunrise pictures. Here's one from Nick. This is a golf course down there in your part of the country there, Elaine. Sunrise on the golf course. For some people, that is just heaven on earth, isn't it? Game of golf early in the morning and a sunrise just on the Algarve coast there. Absolutely beautiful. And no, that's not the one. We'll come back to that in just a moment. That's a morning picture, but we had another sunrise in from Jackie Polly. Jackie, are you on your way here? And is that why you said last sunrise in Torquay? But there you go, Torquay, Devon, a sunrise there. Is that Daddy Hole Beach? Isn't that an incredibly named beach, Daddy Hole? I wonder if it's that one or another one, but a couple of sunrises for you. And while we have it on the screen there, the mugshot of the day. Thank you, Donna in Terceira in the Azores. On the front deck there, looking out over the sea, having a cup of coffee from a Good Morning Portugal mug. Keep those coming in, folks. Buy the merch at the Etsy shop and send us pictures of your Good Morning Portugal mugs. All right, Elaine, we're talking about, I was going to say fighting fear. It's not fighting fear. That's counterproductive, isn't it, to be fighting fear, but facing your fear. Because in this year that we've had, in this crazy pandemic year, we're recognizing, aren't we, that living in fear is not very good for our health. You know all about health, and this is a particularly, I think, issue that's dear to you, right? This whole thing about fear and anxiety and how it's messing us up, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Fear and stress and anxiety are the biggest killers, to be blunt about it. Fear kills. And, you know, you can have we all know of stories of people who've been shocked and had a heart attack and dropped dead. So fear, you know, just one instance of fear can kill you. So if we're living in constant fear, that raises anxiety. If we are kind of a vulnerable, soft, gentle nature, that's going to be exacerbated even further. So our whole body is going to be living in fear itself, and our cells will pick up that fear. So we think the fear is in our mind, but it's in our whole body, and it's in our heart, and it's in our stomach. I specialise in behavioural profiling and how that relates to health. So we can predict how somebody's health is going to be affected their whole life. So the sooner somebody understands what their personality strengths are, then they can then learn to manage those anxieties and so on, and then be more grounded in their own space. So when they feel the fear, they know how to manage it, but also they can learn to anticipate So there's lots we can talk about on the profiling alone. But yes, I have got a health story, which I'm sure we'll come on to at some stage,
Well,
and
I
hopefully
hope
will
so.
help people.
Yeah, because that's really important to put it into context. A few people want to say hello. Let's talk to them. Matty, bon dia alegria to you, Matty. And he's a natural health, complementary health practitioner. And quite a few people here are showing their colours now, as me and Mrs. Emma are doing on a Tuesday evening at 11 o'clock with our Spiritual Portugal show, and occasional one on Saturday. And I hope you'll join us there at some point, Elaine, and you, Matty, and Jim already does. Bon dia alegria to Jim in Baltimore in the US, Elra in Finland. This is how much it's changed, Elaine, since you were last here. We've got people all over the world tuning in. And how's the echo now for you, Matty? And our community all say hello to each other in the comments as well. Paul, who was my guest yesterday, of course, from Alligut in Yorkshire. Good luck with the show, Elaine. Watch that, Carl. He's a canny lad. I'll give a lad to you, Paul. Carlos Martins Victor, bon dia alegria from sunny Portimao. So it sounds like it's a nice day down there today. Bon dia alegria from Thunderduck. Hey up, Thunderduck. See you soon. Healthy move. But they're all saying hello to each other. Okay. Corey Dyspraxis, bon dia as well to you, Corey. How are you doing? Mark. Hey, Mark. Good to see you on the webinar last night. The webinar was wonderful. Exploring the rural life in Portugal. We had Sarah and Luke, off-gridders. And we had the wonderful, I think you thoroughly approve of the mindset of Phil and Kimberly. Law of attraction, folks. Thoughts become things. They do that work with Mike Dooley. With that process, they managed to see a plot of land in Castelo Branco and sign for it. I think it was certainly in less than 30 days, about 23 days, I think, from start to finish, with how they use their mind in that process. And their hearts, I think, as well. Stephen Wells is here this morning, a man cave. I've got something for you. Actually, I'll do it now because these, I don't know if you're familiar with these young rascals, Elaine, but there's a man cave that they do on a Friday night. And this is them on a Friday, all shouting out to each other. Lee, Garvo. Two Lees. Matty, Nurse as well. That monkey's red bottom there looks like it needs some cream or something, but that's especially for you young primates tuned in this morning. Don't forget, everybody, at 10 o'clock on YouTube, Man Cave Reloaded. There's a little picture of what goes on there basically on a Friday night. Okay, back to the comments then. Stephen, good morning to you. Vias Romanas as well, saying bon dia to us. A newbie, I think, to the show. That's fair to say, isn't it? Felicia Navasario, Patricia, morning all from Fiona, who's a wonderful grower in the Ribatejo Valley. And I think you would love what she grows there, Elaine, because I know you're all about the fresh and natural food as well. Alyssa's here. Hello, Alyssa, Portuguese, but in UK. Monica Stridham. Hello, Monica. I think you're new as well, aren't you? And she's talking, I thought that said Claire Sparkles, which would be a lovely name, wouldn't it? But that's Claire Sparks, I think, who she's drawing Claire's attention to the show. Bon dia. Anxiety is a killer, says Penny, a hypnotherapist. Thoroughly agreeing with you there. Loves to tune into the Feel Good Friday. Bon dia to all. Love this subject. So people are in good shape for this, Elaine. Love this subject. Greetings from New Zealand. Lydia. Hola, bon dia to you, Lydia. Jackie Polly, thanks for that picture earlier on. I'll be in Lisbon this Sunday. There you go. So it was the last Torquay sunrise for Jackie. Sunrise of Torquay Harbour from Hollicombe Beach there in Devon. Beautiful part of the world. When's the spiritual show, says Monica? It's on a Tuesday evening at 11 when the kids have gone to bed. So me and Mrs. M can do that together. And often on a Saturday night, a bit of a date night. Talking of shows, Elaine, you do one as well. Can you give that a quick plug now?
Sure, yes, I have a Friday health club, which is 11 o'clock till 12 o'clock Friday morning. So I'll be going after the show here to do my own one. I also host it, which is on my website, discplus.co.uk, discplus.co.uk. So it can be found on there, the Friday Health Club. But also I have a podcast and I interview people from all over the world. I interviewed a lady yesterday, really, really interesting lady. She's an actress and actress who works. And it's interesting how these connections all come about. This lady is a PA to a friend of mine who's a professor, and she's a worldwide cancer expert. And she contacted me to interview the cancer expert, which I've done a few times now, Professor Dana Flavin. And I noticed her email address, and it says actresswhoworks@gmail.com. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. She's happy for her email to go out, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't say it. And I thought, oh, you look interesting yourself. So I interviewed her, and she has written and sung a soundtrack for an upcoming documentary on Michael Jackson. So you just never know, do you, who you're going to meet? And that was through the health world. So, and that was through doing a podcast. So I do a podcast and I do a Friday Health Club as well.
Okay. And is there time for people to jump on to that show at 11 o'clock today? It's
11
kind of
o'clock
private...
this morning. Yes, they could, yeah, because when I finish here with you, yes, if anybody wants to. So discplus.co.uk, just look for Friday Health Club in the menu and then you can hop on there. There is a charge. It's not compulsory if you don't want to. I have a private platform which I need to fund. I've got a private platform, a private social media, a private video platform, etc., which I need to fund. So if you're not able to contribute, it's not a problem. Just send me an email, elaine@discplus.co.uk, and
Right. Well,
I shall whisk you in.
I'm putting that in the comments now. So disc profiling, we'll learn more about that this morning, and the Friday Health Club, if you think that's for you. You say you're on a private platform. Is that because of all this trouble now with people being cancelled for having slightly different views and so on?
Yeah, I'm sick to death of all this censoring business, and I'm a strong personality, which I make no apology for because it's saved my life. So I have strong views, and not everybody agrees with my views, but my views are very common sense, down to earth. And I've got fed up with. I've been thrown off Facebook, I think 6 times now. So I have to every post I make, I look at it. It's taken me so much longer because I look at the post thinking, oh God, who am I going to offend with this comment or that comment? So what I've started to do now is not necessarily comment, but just share stuff, and then people make their own minds up and so on without me putting my tuppence worth in.
You could get banned for that now, though, can't you? I mean, Silicon Valley don't like it up them at the moment, that's for sure. So good on you. And this is the way things are going, I think. People with something to say that's a little bit beyond the agreed narrative, it would appear, a constructed narrative even, it might appear, are having to go their own way. And so I think, I think that's a very brave thing you're doing. It does kind of cut down on the numbers a little bit, potentially, doesn't it? But you've got to go for organic growth and encourage people to find their niche. And that's what we've got to do. There is that, we always thought that the internet and social media was free. There is definitely a price to be paid. We're finding out day by day, I think, here. Let's say you say it saved your life. We'll come back to that in just a moment after we've been well mannered, or me that is, and said hello to everybody who's bothered to say hello to us. So Pippa, bon dia from Botswana. Have a lekker day. I'm up for that. I don't even know what it means, but it sounds like a good thing, doesn't it, Elaine? I think. Bon dia alegria from the USA. Hello, Jeff. How are you, mate? Monica, bon dia todos as well. Stephen! There you go. There they are, the young primates screaming out to each other. Bon dia todos from Barbara in Poland. Pete's here as well. Bon dia, Carl. Sure you had fun yesterday. We had an interesting car hire experience. Was it Rodney Trotter's car hire? Broke down within 100 meters. Well, at least you could walk back to the car hire place. There, Pete. I thought you had a Tesla truck. What's going on there? But that sounds like a company that everyone needs to avoid. Maybe pop it on the forum, Pete. And I hope it wasn't too difficult for you. I imagine some Portuguese people came to your aid immediately. That's how they roll here. Sarah Ewerman. Hello, Sarah. Great to make your acquaintance recently. And we'll see you on the show next Tuesday. Do you want to put a little bit of a primer in the comments about your cycling adventures? And we'll speak to you, or look forward to speaking to you on Tuesday about that. Bon dia to you. And Beulah, Jacqueline, Miss Rolu, what a name. Bon dia from Nazrel. We'll just go with Jacqueline, I think, there, if that's all right with you. A couple more. I'm a licensed MBTI practitioner. A few key similarities with DISC. You acronym ladies, honestly, I've also used DISC, both so great for understanding self and others. And this health trajectory thing, I think, that we'll go on to with Elaine this morning. Unfortunately, 11 o'clock weekdays, which is midnight in Amsterdam, is too late for me. I have to watch recordings. Oh, you old giffer, Matty. You're only a young man. You can stay up till 11 o'clock once a week, honestly. We'll write you a note for school. Bon dia from Scotland, from Patricia, Monica, Elaine. You are my kind of people. There you go. Nice warm welcome from Monica. But you are our kind of people as well, Monica. Is this your first show that you've tuned into, I wonder? Tony, bon dia from Crapper in Caldish. Busy times. 5 dogs sterilised yesterday, including dear old Alvin. Today, 5 dogs going on the happy truck to Holland, having been adopted. Wow. The happy truck to Holland. That's a lot of students look forward to that, don't they? The happy truck to Holland. But this is different for the dogs, I think. A big event planned for Dom Carlos Park in Caldash. That's a lovely park. Huge sale of donated items to raise funds. Do you want a set of golf clubs, Tony? I've got a set of golf clubs to get rid of. What's your page, Elaine? Let me just cut and paste that. I thought I'd already done it. I'll do it again so that Monica can definitely stay in touch with you and subscribe to what you're doing. Ashwin, let's have a look. Ashwin. Jayaram, looking forward for a D2 entrepreneur visa to Portugal. Please inbox me or messenger. Okay, you got me working for you this morning then, Ashwin. We'll come back to that. Crapper has that FB Facebook website. Just search Crapper. I'm surprised you haven't been banned with a name like Crapper on Facebook. They've got no sense of humour, have they, over there, unlike us here. So that's your comments. That's your welcomes. Thank you very much so far for saying hi. Let's talk to Elaine and let's rewind a little bit. You said having your strong personality saved your life, Elaine. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so I use the DISC model and I've been using it for 25 odd years. I started my first business, I'm 64 now. I started my first business over 40 years ago, early 20s. And apart from 12 years in the middle when the business went wrong and I had to go into corporate. So for 12 years I was in corporate. That's where I got introduced to behavioural profiling. And when I came out of corporate in 1998, I've been a business consultant and mentor for many years. I thought, what can I use as a tool to help me with understanding people? So I've done a lot of interim management consultancies. I've been a chief executive. I've done all kinds of, managed over 200 staff, etc., etc. And the thing that links everything is behaviour and how we behave. And I used to use it in corporate terms, but I now use it in health terms because all of the different tools, the lady mentioned MBTI, which is Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. There's lots of different names, lots of different colour schemes, all kinds of things. If you Google personality profiling or behavioural typing, you'll come up with a string of them. But they all go back to 400 BC with Hippocrates, who was a doctor. And he identified he called them the four humours, and he used to look at the blood typing, the blood colours, the bodily colours. So you've got colours of the blood, phlegm and bile in particular, and according to what colour you were, then you were this type of person or that type of person, and he called them four humours, which is why today some of these personality types are colours. People will say, are you a red, blue, a green, yellow, or whether you are. But we've got all of these characteristics in us. The system I used, DISC, I've got my own version of it now. I've got my own online system. And if anybody would like to use that system, feel free. If you want to email me, elaine@discplus.co.uk, I'd be very happy to provide a free behavioural profile for anybody that's on the show. And then you'll be able to see how your behaviours affect your health. So I've designed my own system. I've been paying 20 odd years to another company to use their license. I've now got my own platform created, which includes this DISC profiling, which links to health. So I can tell on there, and you get a report that's, I don't know how many pages now, 15 something, 16 pages, whatever, and it talks about all the different aspects of our personality, how it helps us, how it hinders us, but also how we change, because how we present in the real world isn't necessarily who we are as individuals. So we can be at home in our own comfort zone. When we go out to the public, particularly for people who are highly anxious, they will kind of put on a brave face. In the workplace, people might put on a uniform or a suit or something, and then that will give them the courage to be how they think they should be behaving. So there's all kinds of information that we can find just by looking at the profile, and that causes the health problems. If we're being one person at home or one person in the public, the friction and the disparity between the two causes massive, massive health problems. So the report will show you how any changes you have will be affecting and what tension you're under and all kinds of things.
Elaine, that is amazing, that point there, because there's such a global analogy with that at the moment, isn't there? The world that we've got globally, the new postmodern corporate globalized world, you could say is a dysfunctional personality popped on top of nature. So the world itself is going through that problem, isn't it, of being a split personality, and a contrived and constructed one, which clearly isn't doing us. I mean, whatever your politics are, you can see through your own political lens that this imposition of political systems and capitalism, or you know, whichever is far left or far right, they're all impositions on our true nature, if you like. And I think that's fascinating that, you know, we do this on an individual level as well. All of us, I think, have some level of that, don't we? You know, we have a natural and easygoing set point, I think it might be referred to as. And then for different situations, different contexts, we contrive and create ourselves, don't we, with different masks and personalities to survive in the first place. And then we can't take those masks off in the end, can we? Because they're so well practiced. And is that what you're talking about ultimately, to understand what we're doing and then maybe ease it off a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So ideally, the system comes out with a set of graphs. So we see what the internal pattern is, we see what the external pattern is, so your private versus your public mask, if you like. We see what the differences are, we see an overall typical day-to-day pattern. And ideally, we're looking to see all the graphs the same. So who you are is who you are, what you see is what you get, wherever, you know, whatever context you're in. But I very rarely see graphs that are all the same. The other thing to note is not everybody can be flexible. I happen to have a very highly flexible personality style, which is great for me, but it can be disconcerting for other people because they don't necessarily know how to take me. Because one minute I might be dancing on the table, you know, being the life and soul. The next minute I might have my head down, concentrating on something. And we all have that ability to a greater or lesser extent. And to put it into context, I have profiled thousands and thousands of people in the last 25 years. And typically, most people will only be between 5 and 20% flexible, which means you can step outside of your comfort zone of behaviours, 5 to 20%. A lot of people, particularly accountants, lawyers, those type of computer nerdy people, engineers, you know, really very, very clever people, they concentrate on one thing at a time. They are not so flexible, and a lot of them are struggling at the moment with what we have to do to duck and dive to get through today. So 5 to 20% is what I often see, more nearer the 10%. My flexibility is between 65 and 90%. So I can be whatever I want to be to suit my situation, but we can't keep up, most people cannot keep up pretending to be somebody else on a long-term basis, and that's where the health issues arise. Everybody can pretend. It's like when you go for an interview, you sit there saying what you think the person wants to hear, which isn't necessarily the right thing. So I've used the profiling tool for many interview situations, and I've helped lots of businesses hire the right people. And I've got clients who would never dream of recruiting unless we did the profile with them, because I can tell the person without even meeting them. And I've gone into rooms, I've gone into business meetings, and I've identified people, and they've been spooked out because I know who they are just by observing their behaviour. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I bet it is. So let me get this straight then. There is a functional level of flexibility that some people may or may not have, and like you're highly flexible, and that's fine for you. That fits in with staying well and healthy. But then when people aren't necessarily naturally very flexible, and that's not a criticism, it's just a personality trait. If they try and flex too much, if they pretend to be something they're not, in the long term, that might be very dysfunctional and ultimately disease producing.
Yes, absolutely spot on. And also, each of the personality styles come with sort of innate health issues. So, for example, using the DISC, excuse me, the D and the I, so it's direct and inspiring in my words. So that's the profile that I am. So I'm very straight to the point. I like to laugh and enjoy myself. I need lots of variety. I'm high energy and not everybody's cup of tea. People like me burn out, which is what happened to me, which I'll tell you in a bit later on. So, and also I've got all the flexibility. People who are the S and the C types, which is the supportive and the conscientious types, they will be more kind of, it's the hare and the tortoise, if you like. So you've got, you know, there's so many different ways of looking at different profiles, but there's no right, there's no wrong profile. You can't have a wrong profile. You have what you have, and it's all about understanding as early as possible, which is why I offer my software free of charge to schools to use. And I actually mentor some students in England through a charity that I've trained people to use it, and they go into schools and mentor. So there's so many different ways you can use it.
That's amazing. So people can see a mirror here, can't they? Or they are thinking, you know, as you've very candidly said, I don't think I could spend too much time in Elaine's company, because that would, you know, for the accountants and the lawyers, you might be, they might not just want too much of you, right? They just short.
I agree. And that's spot on. And yet I used to, I've got an MBA legal practice in Nottingham Law School. I was chief executive of a law firm. I was chief operating officer at Ernst & Young. I ran a team of over 220 staff for Ernst & Young. So I don't do the thing, I manage the thing, you know, the activity, not you know, thing isn't people, thing is the activity. So I'm good at the overall strategy, the visioning, the delegation, pulling people together, and I'm a doer. I get things done. I don't, but I do that through people. So that's where the I comes in. People who are high D on their own, which is very, very few people are high D on their own. I've profiled a lot of head teachers and business leaders, and there are two styles. There's two leadership styles that are very common. One is a popular style. One is not so popular style. We've got lots of kind of mismatches, if you like, in understanding of behaviours. When it's all explained and set out, and when you can see what your behaviour is, how you differ to other people, you can then manage that relationship. So I've used it for helping families to go on. I've used it for recruitment situations. I've used it for dating, you know, helping people to know what's what. There's so many ways, but I use it in health now because of my own situation, my own story.
Incredible. This is so fascinating, and you very kindly offered a giveaway. That is to if people email you, you'll put them through the process, or give them a link.
Yes, if they email me, elaine@discplus.co.uk. I will and mention the Good Morning Portugal show, and if they'd like a free behavioural profile, I'll set them up on the system for that.
You're the best. That's amazing. It's such an improvement on yesterday. This was yesterday's giveaway, the German trapped wind cure. I think we've gone up in the world. Thank you so much for that, Elaine. I really appreciate it. That is an upgrade for sure. And you know, I'm thinking your leadership style. It's so fascinating because a lot of people will be thinking, oh yeah, I had a boss like that. And for those people who just like to sit in a cubicle all day, you'd be a nightmare, wouldn't you? As I probably would, coming along and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" And they just want to crack on with their work, don't they? They don't want to be led, they don't want to be inspired or anything like that. They just want to get on with it. And this is, you know, I think we can all recognize bosses like that.
Well, that's the key to understanding your own behavioural style and how other people see you as well. But also, there's another element which is emotional intelligence. So we have our IQ, our intelligent quotient, and then we also have our EQ, which is our emotional quotient. So people call it EI or EQ. And this was first raised by Professor Daniel Goleman from Harvard in 1994. And he studied a lot of leadership styles. And I found in my own experience these two patterns that come out. So if you have a leader who doesn't understand their behavioural strengths, and the limitations, it's important to understand the limitations. So, for example, I'm not good, and I'm not what should I say? Being cuddly and you know, don't come to me if you want. Oh, poor me. You know, I don't do victim. I don't encourage victims. So I help people with their health. My aim is to help people to identify what's wrong with them. Here's guidance, here's a report that I arrange laboratory tests and all kinds of things. Here's what's going on, here's what you can do about it, off you go. I'm there if people want to, you know, touch base back with me, which obviously I do, but I'm not there to encourage people being victims. And also, not everybody wants to get better. So that's another aspect.
It has to be said, doesn't it? Hard to believe, but I think it's true. We all know, we've all maybe been there ourselves, or we know people like that, and people have got to do what they've got to do. It's their choice, isn't it? Their free will, absolutely. But I do like the cut of your jib, Elaine, as I think other people do here this morning. Going back to Pete, not wrong, Carl. This is a metaphor, actually, this morning. The car hire company weren't really at fault. The person who had it before put it was a brand new Jeep, and they filled it with petrol when it was supposed to be diesel. And this is exactly what we're talking about. If as human beings we've got the wrong operating system or the wrong fuel, it's going to make the engine poorly, isn't it? If I got a rather clumsy metaphorical link that I'm making there. Gemini's here saying hello, everyone. Pete is gutted because he doesn't get to see Philomena. I'm sure there's another way, Pete. Thumb it over there or get Philomena to come and collect you. She will, you know. Carl, yes, come along to the sale and bring on the day. Okay, I'll take my clubs down there. Might have one or two other bits for you as well, Tony. All good stuff, earning and raising money for the dogs there, the dog charity Crapper. Jacqueline Branco is organising a cake table for us. Let the word go out that Jacqueline is baking. Other bakers beware. Jim says, you might have heard of this one, Elaine. I use the True Colours temperament model for self-awareness and communication. Brad Beaver is tuned in from the UK. Another new name, I think. I'd have remembered that. Elaine is so knowledgeable and so interesting and fascinating, says Mac 007. Thanks, Elaine. That's very kind. I'm looking forward to that. I'm a bit like that in public. Somebody else than my true self. I think with age, I slowly put on a mask. I've been battling with this lately. And yes, she's keen to take the mask off. There she goes, trying to get that mask off. We all are. You're in good company here. We're all doing things possibly, many of us are, that aren't good for us. And if we can get that self-awareness that Elaine's working on and helping us with, then you can make yourself healthier and give yourself a better prognosis. Bon dia, alegria. I'm late to the party. Hope all are well. We're pretty good, Francis. It's Francis Feelgood Friday here. Good timing. Happy Friday. Elaine. Yeah, you sound like me, she says. Bon dia, Carl. Elaine Itoros from Jim McDonald, Jersey, also on his tour of Portugal. La bon dia, alegria from Gate 46 before... we're sad to see you go. I think it's safe to say you had a great time. Another sunset's just come in from Botswana. Look at that. That is a sunset, folks. That is Should we just revel in that for a moment? What's going on? Is that people's sleeping bags there? I wonder, who've just woken up in the sunrise. Are you feeling the vibes off that, Elaine? I am. That's doing
gorgeous. I've got all kind of spooky, your hair's stand on end. My hair's on my arms are stood on end.
Me too. My hairy legs are just, I've got a life of their own at the moment, and I'm feeling it in my belly. That is beautiful, Pippa. A sunrise, a recent sunrise from Pippa in Botswana this morning. A few more comments, and then we'll come back to your burnout and what happened and how you dealt with that, because I think it's a fascinating story. Absolutely. David Durham's just arrived as well. David, welcome to you. So one going out, Jersey P and Mrs. P leaving for the US. I'm sure they'll be back soon. And David's here, arrived this morning, I believe. Bon dia, Toros, taught many years ago at Cranfield. Don't work in the business, work on the business. Wise advice. I've often struggled to... All the wisest advice isn't easy to apply, right? I think it's fair to say. It's almost a definition. Joe Blixham, bon dia to you, Joe. Gary, my thoughts are when dealing with people, don't ask them to do something you wouldn't do yourself. Lead by example, but lead with conviction. How true, says Monica. Some people revel in nonsense. I've had to cut some people out of my life like that. Can't deal with that. Edmundo saying good morning. Bon dia to you, Edmundo. And Olga, just for the moment. We'll leave it there. Bon dia, alegria from Olga. Hey, Olga. Nice swimsuit. Right. Cutting people out. Would you recommend that? People who aren't good for you, people who rub you up the wrong way, people who you've made false friends with because of your false personality. Should we let them go, Elaine?
You have to, otherwise you're going to be ill. In fact, I've just walked away from the situation for that very reason. My health is my prized possession, and I'm not giving it up for anybody, for love nor money. If we are surrounded by negativity, it could be things, people, stuff that we're doing ourselves, but we have such an influence from people who are close to us, but also the social media. We're bombarded left, right and centre by negativity. We have to find ways to protect ourselves. And I've walked away from family as well, not my children. They've walked away from me at the moment, but that's a temporary situation and dealing with that. But I have a brother that I forget I've got. We never got on as children, and he was so negative. I haven't seen him for years, and I'm not proud to say that, but I can't be doing with the negativity because as I said before, it's the vibe. Your cells pick up this stuff. Your cells. Imagine your cells. You know, trillions and trillions of cells in the body. They're little people, and if you've got unhappy people in your body, you know, from the inside out, you're going to be rotting. So you have to, you know, we talk about the mind-body connection, and the mind-body connection is so powerful. Our thoughts. You mentioned somebody who'd got some land. With the law of attraction, we are what we think about. So if we think negativity and we have negativity coming at us, whether it's from people, social media. I haven't read a newspaper, a national newspaper, since 1995 when I started my master's degree. I had to find time to study. My son was 4 months old at the time. My daughter was 12. And I had to find some time, and I thought, well, you know, what is it that I do? I was working in the city. I was managing a team of 25, I think, at the time. So I had a real full-on job, and I embarked on this MBA. Everybody thought I was mad, but I knew I could do it. So I stopped. I was reading 3 newspapers. I was reading the Financial Times, the Main Times, and the Evening Standard as well. I was in London. I was watching the mainstream news, I was listening to it on the radio, and I stopped all of that. And in fact, I did a blog years ago saying how many thousand hours I'd saved by you know, I kind of got back for myself. And I did my studying in the time that I was really wasting reading yesterday's fish and chip paper.
Very good. So just an update for you then, Elaine. Tony Blair isn't the Prime Minister anymore, if you stop reading the papers in 1995. But Penny's the same. I haven't read a newspaper since the days of Maggie Thatcher. Penny, also, there has been a few changes of Prime Minister since then, in case you're interested. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Carl. Yes, actually addressed. I'm so sorry. I thought it was a nice choice to wear by the pool at an evening party. It certainly is. And a nice wink there. Thank you very much, Olga. My mistake. Okay, so you did your MBA. You reconfigured your life, didn't you? You saw where you were wasting time. And isn't that interesting? You know, we make time, and we can make time for the things that are important to us. And sometimes it takes a little bit of analysis and self-awareness and introspection to think, hold on a minute, that thing which I thought was absolutely necessary, like looking at yesterday's chip papers, or, you know, people who keep them to read next year. It might be that you don't necessarily need to do that. Now, we're not trying to tell anybody what to do here, but maybe it is useful to take a little bit of self-analysis and to see where time might be being wasted or might be used more appropriately. Or if you've got a complaint, there's usually something that can be done about it, right? Whether that's a medical complaint or a life complaint. Well, what do you reckon?
Well, everybody has to make their own decisions. Everybody has to do what's right for them. And I'm always telling people to follow your intuition, because your intuition is the master of you. Your intuition, your body knows what it wants. It knows what it needs. So many people have got in the habit of overthinking and trying to intellectualize emotion, which you can't do that. You just can't.
Bless you. I don't often hear many people say that. I mean, I think that's a major scourge, that people do think too much. And thinking, if you think about it, which you shouldn't, it always goes downhill, doesn't it? All thinking, unless you intervene on yourself. I mean, it has its uses, doesn't it? There are moments where you think, okay, did I post that letter? Here comes a bus. I should step out of the way. These brief thought processes are very useful often. But when we go into that, should I, shouldn't I? What so-and-so said, what should I have said about that? What should I do about my life? What should I do about my problems? That tends to take a negative spiral, doesn't it? I mean, people call it planning and strategy, but often the way the mind works tends to be in a downward spiral. So I'm so glad to hear you say that. Tell us more.
Well, our emotions work a snap moment quicker than our brain does. So whatever, some people feel it in their heart, some people feel it in their stomach, but you will have a feeling somewhere in your body, an instinct that tells you if something is right or if it's wrong. So use it with people, with situations. And how many times have we said to ourselves, oh, I felt so-and-so, but I thought something else. And that's the thing that got me into trouble.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So you're encouraging people to trust that, because we do that, don't we? There are multiple agendas that work. And I suppose this is what's unearthed in the DISC process. There might be one agenda to say, you know, the thought process comes in, well, it's not so bad and I need to do it because of this or that. And it's good to stay in touch because of this and that. But are you suggesting that very first impulse is possibly the most powerful, healthy, and useful to us?
Most definitely, most definitely. And using the disc mnemonic, the D's and the C's are more, shall we say, non-people orientated, and the I's and the S's are more intuitive and people orientated. So that's, that opens a whole can of worms. So if you have somebody who's got effectively a split personality, you've got somebody who's maybe a high D and a high S. When I do presentations, I use I use pictures. I use an owl for the D. No, I don't. I use a lion for the D, a dolphin for the I. I should have had a picture I could have shared it. I never didn't think about that.
You're coming back. We'll do it another time. Go on.
Right, okay. So we've got the lion, the dolphin, the little puppy dog, and a owl. So those represent the 4 different styles of behaviour. And the reason I use those is because I used to teach teachers who had kindy level children. They would understand those behaviours. And if you say to a child, so the listeners, if you say to your grandchildren, out of these animals, which one would you be? If you chose to be an animal, which one would you be? 99% of the time, they will choose the animal that matches their personality. Done it hundreds of times with the teachers. So if we have, say we have a lion, so that's the high D, and the high S, which is the puppy dog, the lion would eat the puppy dog for breakfast. But some people have that in their personality, and that's a very difficult personality style. So one minute the puppy dog is, oh, there. The next minute the lion's chopping your legs off. So you've got this contrast, and it depends where you are on the scale. Everybody's different. So you might have somebody who's got a bit of an S and a bit of a D, but maybe they've got a very high I, or there's lots of, there's scales of things. And as I say now, I do stress all the time, there is no wrong profile, and you can't have a bad profile. So if you have that in your behaviour pattern, then look at how you can maximise that. A lot of people, particularly in corporate, will be concentrating on the limitations, or they call them weaknesses. I prefer the term limitations. So I know I'm not wonderful at, I'm not consistent, I'm not good at following through, blah, blah, blah. So I have a PA that does all that, and she loves it. So we work together. So that's where the leadership comes into it, to identify what people are good at, where they will identify themselves. When I did business consulting, I'd have this thing, people, process, profits. Choose the right people. That is the key thing in any organisation. You choose the right people. They will then determine the process, and then your profits will rise if that's what you're in business for. Not everybody's in business for a profit. Most people are, but that's not always. So people, process, profits. People are the most important, but in order for people to be effective, they need to understand themselves and understand each other and who they're working with. That way you've got a happy family.
Absolutely right. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Philomena's here. Some good news coming in. Bon dia Alegria. Some excellent news. Our swimmer in the Paralympics, Diogo Cancela, from the same town as Philomena there, finished in the 12th place yesterday and 6th today. So well done from Portugal, taking on the rest of the world. Well done, Diogo. 12th and 6th place. 12th yesterday, 6th today. Keep up the good work, my friend. And thank you for that, Philomena. Bon fin de semana to you, Philomena Pascual. Olga, yes, thank you, Olga. Totally agree. No time for negative people. You can't change them, but they can change you. That's an interesting perspective, isn't it? Gareth is here. Good morning, Gareth. Hello, mate. How are you doing? Very important to know what matters most to you. Get your life priorities in order, and it's a lot easier to make decisions. Thank you. Thunder. Hola, bon dia. Great tips and advice being handed out this morning. That's because Elaine's here, everybody, on Feel Good Friday. Overthinking is crippling. It's the action. Look at this. It's the action of pressing all of the keys on an old-fashioned typewriter at once. So true. And we don't get the works of Shakespeare coming out when we do that, do we? The downward spiral is part of a default mode network that we fall into when not focused on forward moving activity. Taking action really helps, doesn't it, when it comes to the old paralysis by analysis? Life is so short. I love people who like animals and singing. There's a reason for that, Barbara. Good morning, Jacqueline. The baker, Jacqueline, is here. Baker Branco is in the house, everybody. Hi, Jacqueline. Elaine again. That's me, lol. I might need a PA too. And so do I, says Mac 007. Muito obrigado. Say BNL Chase. Hola, bon dia from Lisboa. This is very important information. It so is. Choosing the right people for your team leads to success, says Jacqueline Branco, who seems to know a thing or two about this as well. You know what? This show is called Facing Your Fears. So we better talk about that at some point, hadn't we? But it's all been great contextual stuff. The situation at the moment, the pandemic, it's rife, isn't it? You know, people we're being terrorized, aren't we, on one level, no question about that. And that resonates with the human instinct to survive. It might also resonate with people who want to control. They like to use fear, don't they, on other people? Putting that to one side, I think we have an understanding on that, Elaine. What do you do as an individual in the face of that in these challenging times?
Well, given that we started talking about fear, the simplest, easiest way for everybody to protect themselves is to boost your immune system. So okay. Jenny talks about this. Jennifer Barrakel talks about this on your show. Jenny and I linked together now as well as a result of us both being on the show. So that's lovely. Thank you for that introduction.
Pleasure.
So, we need to boost our immune system and look at the medication that we're on, if we're on medication. Every single drug has a side effect, and it doesn't matter what drug it is, it's not natural, and therefore has a side effect. So boosting your immune system, boosting all your mineral levels, for example, I'm drinking this, what have I got here this morning? I've got a cafetiere, and it's bay leaf. It's bay leaf tea. So I've just got half a dozen bay leaves, probably can't see it. Wrong way. I've just got bay leaves in the bottom. I've just got bay leaves in there. It's bay leaf tea. It's really, really healthy for you. High in vitamin C's and lots of vitamins. You can do the same with pine needle tea. Is amazing for reversing the C thing that's around at the moment, and protecting from it as well. And we've got oodles of pine trees in Portugal, haven't we? So pine needle tea.
Yes.
So
Mrs.
Make sure
Mrs. M makes that.
Brilliant. And make sure that you don't have it neat. You boil it well. Otherwise, for some pine needles, you've got turpentine, natural turpentine, and some people are quite susceptible to it. So make it properly. So there's all kinds of herbal teas that you can do. The sunshine, obviously, vitamin D. The positivity, being in a positive environment, that is one of the biggest things that you can do. That costs nothing. You know, laugh a lot. Enjoy good company, whatever, but live life in balance. Balance is the key. We can't all be singing and dancing on tables every day. We can't all be, playing golf or by the pool or whatever. We need a balance of intellectual stuff and happy stuff, sad stuff as well, and getting our emotions out. So any therapists that are listening will resonate with this. A lot of people with illnesses have retained emotions, and I mentor a lot of people through cancer and through reversing and recovery from cancer. And the key thing there is to let your emotions out, deal with any emotional baggage that you've got. So quite often people with, when you have the behavioural profile, you'll see there's a whole chart of types of illnesses that people are susceptible to. So the S's and the C's are more cerebral type people, the thinkers, and they kind of hold on to things. They don't let things go, whether that's emotion or whether it's not forgiving people, whatever. Whereas the D's and I's will have a blow up, get over it, and that's it, sort of thing. So there's different ways that the different personalities will deal with the fear and with the emotions. But boosting your immune system, eating clean, eating organically, lots of raw food, plenty of quality water, not tap water, because there's all kinds of nasty things in there. Invest in your health, but it doesn't need to cost a lot of money. It can do, but it doesn't need to. Juicing every day is a great way to get nutrition fast into your body. So anybody who's feeling a bit poorly, buy a juicer. We're covered in fruits here. but plant-based ideally with a bit of fruit is my preferred. Some people say all fruit, but from my perspective, with what I've learned, I'm a qualified nutritionist as well, by the way, and also a biohacker, so I do know a lot about this stuff from a
let me ask you about that, because yeah, I mean, you are speaking from experience. Like, we didn't even talk about this. I mean, you had burnout, and you have recovered yourself from cancer, haven't you? And you say you help other people do that.
Yeah, I've had 4 different types of cancer, and I also 4 different types. Yeah, and I also cured myself of a kidney disease I was born with that wasn't identified till my early 20s. And I used to see Harley Street consultants every 6 months, and I was put on antibiotics. It took a while to regulate them, and I was on 3 different types of antibiotics. I'd start one for a week, then another, and then go back after week 3 to week 1, and so on. That went on for 23 years. And then in my mid-40s, I've got a twisted and curved spine, and I've always had back problems. I've got a bit of spina bifida at the bottom. I've always had back issues. And I saw a chiropractor, and his partner was a nutritionist. So about 20 years ago this was, I learned about how the spine, and in fact I'm looking for a McTimoney chiropractor, if anybody knows of one in the Algarve, for my own personal use. If anybody knows one, please let me know.
Sure, yeah, what we can do to help.
Your spine is just so important to have in alignment, and the area of my back that was most problematic was that which covered my kidneys and my bladder, which was the kidney disease. So what was happening was so you've got your kidney, and then you've got tubes that coming out. Elaine is the bottom. Laugh at that comment.
It's quite a distracting comment, isn't it? But it's true, yeah. Elaine. It's amazing.
So what was happening? My tubes weren't releasing, the toxicity and muck and everything. So what was happening was building up. I would either projectile vomit or I would have a waterwork infection. And because I was a competitive swimmer, I represented my county at national level when I was a teenager, and I was training twice a day in the pool. And people said, "Oh, it was the chlorine." So I'm really sensitive to anything that's not natural going in or on my body. I just won't have it. I'll walk away. So anyway, so in my mid-40s, I got introduced to the importance of having a very healthy, aligned spine. And I learned at that time about eating well. So eating naturally, organically, nothing processed, etc., etc. Then fast forward, I did a lot of business consulting. I've always say to people, find your passion and then find a way to generate an income from it, because you'll never do a day's work in your life, which I haven't, because I've always enjoyed what I do. So I was working all hours as a business consultant. I was working in client offices sometimes till gone midnight, and I would always be getting into trouble. This was a constant theme with me when I was doing any interim assignments. I was accused of over communicating, but what that means in code is that by me communicating what was happening, it was showing people up for what they weren't doing, type of thing. So I learned how to balance that a bit better in the end. But the last assignment I did, I was managing the legal department. I was managing partner for legal department for a large local authority, and running all the lawyers and the barristers and everybody there. So anyway, I finished that assignment in February 2009. March 2009, I got I found a lump, and anyway, July 2009, I had a mastectomy and reconstruction. I had high grade, what they call DCIS, which actually isn't real cancer, but it is. It's cancer in a contained situation. Anyway, long story short, I had a mastectomy reconstruction. And I wrote a book. It's on Kindle somewhere. It's not my best work, I have to say, but it's particularly for people who went through this particular procedure. So they took my stomach, tissue, muscle, etc., and formed a new breast. Wow. And the book is called "My Right Breast Used to Be My Stomach." And so that's the title of the book.
I'm sorry to laugh. I can't not laugh at that, though, can I?
Well, people used to. I lost a lot of so-called friends at the time because in the village I was living, people would literally cross the road. They didn't know how to talk to. They didn't know what to say. So their embarrassment, they would walk away, look down, and so on. So those people who did talk to me, I would openly say, "Oh, it's this one," and I'd point to my right breast because they would, you could see the question, oh, which one is it, Anyway, so February 2009, I had that situation. Knowing what I know now, I would never have had the surgery, never in a million years. But there we go. Yeah. I got frightened into it, etc. Peer pressure, all sorts of stuff. Then about a year and a half later, I intuitively felt something wasn't right. I put my finger on it. I knew something in the breast area wasn't right. There were no lungs, nothing. I had a mastectomy, so my breath was my stomach previously. Anyway, I said to my team, can you do some investigations? And they found a grade 3 tumour in the site of my mastectomy, which they couldn't explain. So that was another episode. And in fact, I had various different biopsies and bits and bobs cut out of me. And in one situation, I actually was passing the instruments to the surgeon. I was awake in the operating theatre, and there were 2 students standing behind the surgeon. And this to me, you two were going to help because the social staff, the nurse, this one and that one hadn't turned over poorly. And I was first on the table, she said, unless you guys help, she said, and you might need to help as well, to me. She said, I can't go ahead, I'm going to have to cancel all the surgery for the day. So I said, right, come on, what do I need to do? So I was literally passing instruments, holding things and all sorts. She was taking it, a lump.
Yeah, that is so you, I think.
Yeah. So so that was that. And then so my intuition was telling me something wasn't right. As I say, there was no signs of nothing. And then July 2015, I had the news. I was talking to my daughter on the phone, and I was just holding my neck, and there was an egg-sized lump on my neck, and I'd had a lot of itching, and lots of other bits and pieces were happening that I hadn't put together. Anyway, I got the shock horror of stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I was given the news that I had less than a year to live. So this was July. I had, because I'd had 2 previous experiences, I'd already researched cannabis oil, and I'd already got a plan. If anything happened again, I would go to America because I thought, and I'd got friends in America that I could go and stay with them and take the the special oil, not the CBD, the special stuff. So I remember my daughter saying to the specialist, "What happens if Mum's herbally burbly route doesn't work?" And the specialist said, "Mum will be very ill by Christmas," so this was July, "and she probably won't make the year." Anyway, I didn't hear that last bit. I only heard very poorly by Christmas, and I thought, right, I don't think so. This is not, this isn't for me. And I switched off at that point. Anyway, long story short, I beat stage 4 cancer in 14 weeks by using a variety of different strategies. And I've also since trained in, actually, did I train? I can't remember when I did my training in nutrition. So I bring everything together from personal experience and my trainings. And I've recently, in the last 2-3 years, done a lot of training as biohacking. So looking at the metabolic analysis, and that's what I offer to people I mentor now. Metabolic analysis, blood analysis, and I can see what's going on in the body, and I can then point people in the right direction and guide them to fix themselves. So it's a very interesting journey. I've also had I can't remember if it's 5, 7 or 9. I don't know. It's 7 episodes of skin cancer on my face, which I've dealt with myself naturally. So each cancer I've had, I've dealt with differently according to what I've known at the time. My own research and so on, and also what my intuition tells me to do.
Amazing, Elaine. Amazing. I mean, we should have started there, really, but there we go. Fantastic. You are very popular this morning with our audience, and quite rightly so. Monica, please to tell us that she has a pine tree in her garden. Get that tea boiled up. Watch out for the turpentine.
Where does Monica live? Monica,
which
tell
bit?
us where you live.
Yeah, which bit of the UK, Monica? The best way when dealing with certain people is despite them. I think I know what you mean there, Edmundo, and that's exactly the sort of thing we were talking about earlier on. Toxic people, you got to let them go. Bon dia from Margarita. Good morning to you, Margarita. Jeff Owen, bon dia from Jeff as well. This is excellent, says Francis. Thank you, Elaine. And Margarita saying, como volta as origens. I actually don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's profound and useful in this context. Wow, great testimonial for good nutrition, says Jeff. And Andy's also here. Not shouting at the moment. Maybe he needs another coffee. Monica, my chiropractor food changes and CBD oil. Another fan of the CBD oil has made my fibromyalgia better. Well done, Monica. Excellent. Fabulous advice, says Jeff Owen. I'm not sure it's advice. I would call it insight, actually, because people need to act on it, don't they, and make it their own. I think, rather than being told what to do, which is the more sort of common medical model, isn't it? Good morning. Very interesting guest this morning, Carl. Thank you, Elaine, for sharing your life experiences and your amazing help you share with others. It's a pleasure to have you here, Elaine. And so thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll come again. I think it's healthy to laugh at life's past crap. Laugh or you will cry. Absolutely. Elaine, you are amazing, put simply. UK in Essex is where she is. What an amazing lady, says Jackie Polly. We agree. Basildon in Essex is Monica.
I know it well.
Yeah, me too. I delivered a marketing workshop there once for some reason. Don't know why. Just, these funny things that you laugh at in the past, as Andy was saying. Bon dia from an American expat living in Provence, soon to retire to Portugal. Yes, Robert Vinkel, when you come in. And tried geminal neuralgia as well. That's very painful and disconcerting, isn't it? So well done with that, sorting that out, Monica. We need to return to our origins, to nature. Absolutely right. Fiona and Simon, thank you, Elaine. I so agree with you, Elaine, from a fellow 64-year-old. Don't believe either of you, actually, to be honest. We'll go back to that other comment, which is fantastic. Where is it? Yeah. Mac 007, fantastic show this morning. Elaine is the bomb. Absolutely right. Been so good to have you here. I know you've got to get ready for your next show at 11 o'clock, Elaine. Any sort of parting thoughts then on this idea of facing our fears, understanding the toxicity of anxiety, worry, and so on? What's your final word on this? And I do hope you will come back and talk to us some more at some other time.
Yes, sure, absolutely. We'd love to. Basically, the bottom line is to know who you are, understand yourself, follow your intuition, boost your immune system, live life to the full with positivity, happiness. Simple.
Boom. Done. You're the bomb, and that is a boom moment there. Drop the mic. Jeez, you've nailed it. Fantastic, Elaine. Have a great show at 11. So lovely to reconnect with you. Bon fin de semaine. Have a great weekend. I hope we'll meet in person at some point soon. It's looking more likely, isn't it? I think. I'm
sure we will at some stage. Yes. Yeah.
And come and join us on the Spiritual Portugal show. All the best. Take care. Bye. I don't want to let you go, but I have to.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it was Elaine. Sorry, let's give that email address for getting in touch with the disc profiling. So Elaine at
Disc Plus, DISCPLUS.co.uk.
Okay, all right. I can't find the ampersand on my Portuguese keyboard, but you'll get the gist of it from here. Okay, is that right there?
Yes, yeah. It leads to my present platform. The new one will be launched shortly, but all roads lead to me.
Fantastic. All right, beijinhos, ciao, ciao. Bon fin de semana. Bye. See ya. Bye for now. There she goes, everybody. Elaine Godley. Wow, amazing. I knew it would be good. I wasn't quite sure it'd be that good this morning talking to Elaine. So a lot of you inspired and enjoyed that as well. We've got a few photos to share as well before we go. All sorts actually this morning, just as we breathe out. Why? It was very exciting as well, wasn't it? And inspiring talking to Elaine there. So let's just have a look at a few photos that have been coming in as well. Andy, I think I showed this a bit too early for your presence here on the show. But this is just another reminder tonight that the Man Cave is on at 10 o'clock this evening. The Man Cave Reloaded. Search for that on YouTube. And that's pretty much gives you a preview of what it'll be like this evening and what they're like here in this community, frankly. Every morning or most mornings, Now, we do sunrises now. We're getting into the habit, aren't we, of doing sunrises. That beautiful. Let's just savor that again for a moment from Pippa. Isn't that beautiful? Ah, that's doing me some good. That is digital vitamin D, and digital vitamin D is what that is. We had the sunrise this morning. That's beautiful as well, isn't it? In Torquay there in the UK. And we have some sunsets now as we go out on the show. We have Clive Gardner's collection that's been sent in. Thank you, Clive. Fellow funker. Yes, I said funker. He and I have a shared love of funk and soul music. He's a bit of a creator of the same as well. So friend up Clive if you're into some good ones and some old school jams. And these are his pictures coming in. So this first one, he says, nothing like Paul's standard, referring to yesterday. And the wonderful pictures we shared from Paul Richards in the Algarve. But here's a sunrise from last week at Maya Praia. The black specks are birdies, not dirt on the lens. That looks very magical, and we'll take your word for it. But I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, when the birds get going at certain times of day? That's very, very beautiful indeed there. Let's go on to the next one. Look at that. We mentioned this yesterday. Now, that is Granny Annie's beach. That's the translation of it anyway. This is Praia de Dona Ana, late in the afternoon, just before the sun came down last week. And that's said to be one of the greatest beaches in Portugal. I think I've seen quite a few like that, but I'm not doubting it. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? And then you get the, it's time to go, don't you? When a cliff shadow is cast across the beach, it's time to go and get ready to go out for the evening and get your aftershave on. Next pick in the deck, I'm just juggling tabs here, not cigarettes, digital tabs. This from Clive Gardner is the sunset at Lagos Marina, and actually. Yesterday, if you watched the webinar when I put it up of last night's Living the Rural Dream in Portugal, we had Sarah Faj on the show as well. She tuned in from her boat. She is part rural life, part life aquatic, and she spoke to us from her boat, and she talked about Lagos Marina. But what an amazing and enviable life she has. Sounds fantastic. And thank you, Sarah, again. Thank you to Phil and Kimberly, and thank you to Sarah and Luke for joining me last night. It was such fun, that show. Here's another one for you. That's very special, isn't it? So by this time, I think Clive and his party are ready with their glad rags on to go out for the evening, having come back from the beach. I just show you. Where are they now? That's Lagos as well. A few days ago, just after the sunset, and not quite a full moon that you can see through the trees there yet. And we were talking to Paul yesterday, weren't we, about the full moon and how hard it is to capture. As you could see here, I mean, you get the gist, don't you? And both Clive and I were sharing notes on having capacious foreheads. He made that reference, not me, but isn't that lovely as well? That is taken on the recent full moon night on the promenade opposite Lagos Marina. Here's my own, even more capacious than yours forehead with the funfair big wheel, then the full moon, then a small speck of a planet as well, of course, yes. And finally, Lagos Marina. This has got a little bit of a treatment on it, but that's Lagos Marina with the big wheel there, and a rather nice, it looks like a sailing barge, doesn't it? I don't know if that's the right terminology for that, but there's the boat. There's the Antares, somebody's pride and joy, docked in Lagos Harbour there. Thank you so much. We also had this sunrise this morning from a golf course from Nick's Diamond. Thanks for that, Nick. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you all and your lovely photos that you send in. What else have we got? Oh, yeah. Via WhatsApp yesterday, I want to share this with you, okay? Who's this? Would like to send you a copy of my book. What's your address? I can't see who you are, but I'm so delighted that you'll be doing that. Yes, absolutely. Oh, sunset just in from Cape. Oh, my word. Can't go without sharing this. So sunsets at the beginning, generally speaking. We're going to get into this habit. And, of course, we'll be having sunrises at the beginning and sunsets at the end. It kind of works, doesn't it? This is a sunset from Cape Town that's just come in via WhatsApp. 913-590-303. Look at that. Oh my word. Someone who can walk on water as well. Extraordinary. Absolutely beautiful. Sunset, Cape Town. Thank you. Who is that who just sent that in? Just claim that on the screen, if you will. I can't see that because I haven't got your name on my WhatsApp. I know you, but I'm so sorry. Please take responsibility for that fabulous photo there. Dial address. Oh, I see. I've got you. Thank you very much. That's Jim and Andy sending. This is so beautiful, Andy. Do you want me to share that on the screen? I wonder. I don't know. Let me know if you do. This is. Oh, he's enjoying the sunshine in the Vasco da Gama shopping centre. Well, we may come back to that, but let me share this with you. This is really beautiful. This came in from a Portuguese correspondent yesterday, and I have to share this with you because I was very touched and moved. And you're all part of this. You all equally share the blame, responsibility, or glory for this that I'm about to. I turned WhatsApp off instead of just turning it down a little bit or minimizing it. So here you go. We had a message yesterday from a lovely man who is João Ferreira, who says, I've been watching and listening carefully to your YouTube channel for several months now. No words to describe what a high quality work you're doing. Thank you very much. I've not subscribed to the channel, though, because I watch it after dinner on my TV set. That to me is a scary proposition. I think this should be watched on a phone, not in great big 4K or whatever. So I'm not subscribed, he says, watch it on TV. Anyway, I reached a point where I felt it would be fair to tell you that, not being an Englishman, it is rather difficult for me to properly express my gratitude for the beautiful way you speak about my country, Portugal. But expressing my gratitude to you and all the other participants like Gary and Linda or Hank and Connie is exactly what I am trying to do here. You always have such kind words when referring to Portugal and its people. Being Portuguese, I can easily think of a lot of bad things in Portugal, so that we probably don't deserve such generosity from you expats, which enhances the need for me to thank you even more humbly. Sorry for such a long message. Hope you don't become awfully bored to deal with this or bored to death with this. Wish you all the best. And once again, thank you very much for what you're doing for my country. Oh, my word. Cheers from João Ferreira. Isn't that beautiful? And we all share that here. We're all part of that, I think, lusofilia, the love of Portugal that we share every weekday morning. So I include you all in that. Even you sometimes negative ones. We all share the glory for that. And João, thank you so much for reaching out with that beautiful message. Monica 913-590-303. Are you all trying to keep me here for a really long time this morning? Perhaps I should go with that flow, inspired and somewhat mellowed out now. After that Feel Good Friday session with Elaine there. Beautiful message from João, isn't it just, Jeff? And he's out, it's easy for us to love Portugal, but so interesting to hear the perspective from a Portuguese person there. Francis, that's your picture from, I must put the names to the faces on the WhatsApp because it doesn't always do that, does it? And I've always wondered with WhatsApp, I've said this before, if you put on there, something, one of your readies who's, boring old giffer or something. If you type that in, can they see it at the other end? I've often wondered about that, because you have to put your own contact details in for WhatsApp, and I just wondered if they're shared at the other end and if I should stop doing that. Jazz funk weekends, that's good for your health, isn't it? So maybe you, Capricorn 12, me and Clive should talk about this. I mean, how would it be? How would it be to have a jazz funk weekender in the Algarve? Does that not sound like heaven on earth to you? It does to me. And I'd love it if we could work towards something like that. I really would. So Capricorn 12, Clive, come on, us old funkers need to stick together and maybe organise something like that. I think Andy quite likes his man cave rendering that I created this morning. And here he is in the Vasco da Gama Centre enjoying the sunshine. And the last time I was in there, Andy, I looked up and I thought it was raining. Did they wash the roof to keep it cool in there? If you look up during the day, and I don't know if it's happening in that photo of you there, you look very fetching in your blue face nappy, my friend, being socially responsible there and enjoying the sunshine on your back, I'm sure, in that massive conservatory that is the Vasco da Gama Centre that often smells out on the outdoor part there on the what's it called when you go outside, the terrace of Wacky Backy. Go and give it a sniff and see if you can smell that this morning. Is it those naughty students up to their old tricks out there? Elaine at discplus.co.uk is the giveaway. We've definitely gone up in the world, haven't we? Yesterday was this. No one's claimed this yet. The German trapped wind cure. So I think it's a little sachet of powder. God knows where you have to put it. You know what the Germans are like. They're not averse to taking things internally, are they? Elaine at discplus.co. Maybe you just dust it in the appropriate area. I don't know. It's a light dusting. Obrigado from Monica. Thank you, Andy, for this tip. Anyone else who needs that? Portuguese keyboard ampersand is Control-Alt-2. Shall I try that now? Control? I see I've got hybrid keyboards, I think. Where's the Alt tab? It's all very well telling me what it is, but if I haven't got the keys, Alt tab 2, am I going to blow the show up doing this? Yes, he's right, you know. Look, I'm going to put that in the comments as proof. Thank you very much for that. Everyone coming in. Carl, you're a funketeer. Wow, so am. I'm not ashamed to say it. More important is vitamin L than vitamin D. Vitamin L, which was that? Vitamin laughter, is it? I think so. Oh, love and laughter. Vitamin L, love. There. Thank you very much for that, Barbara. So true. It's time to get the funk out. And you as well. The funkers are coming out of the closet. Check also the human design system. Yeah, human design. I used to work at Kindred Spirit magazine, and Richard Beaumont, the editor there, was big into human design. When I had my interview with him, he put me through that. Get your chart free and know what is your specific design. Then you can act according to your individual needs. So true. Thank you, Vyas Romanos. I prefer vitamins G and D. 913-590-303 is the WhatsApp to send your pics to. Thank you for claiming that one, Francis. Your beautiful shot of Cape Town. Let's just show that again with your. Let's just title that up. Give you appropriate credit. There it is. Isn't that beautiful? Fantastic. You folks, fantastic photographers and very generous sending. Oh my goodness, there's loads coming in this morning. Thanks for a great show, says Francis. Beautiful message from Joao. Absolutely. We love Portugal, Joao. It's the people that make the place. So there you go. I hope you get to see this, Joao. Lee, don't forget to plug. Lee, where have you been? I've been plugging it all morning. There you go. That's you, that is. Where are you? On the top row there? I don't know. You'll have to appropriate the actual primates to yourselves there, but there are some very sore red bottoms there. So is that plugging enough for you? Don't be plugging red bottoms, anybody. How do I get a book to you from the US? Best address. I'll get back to you on that, Jim. I will send it to you. It's just so kind of you. Thank you very much. Water cooling the glass to cool the interior. So that's what they're doing there. I think we can get rid of those monkeys on the screen now, can't we? Definitely up for that music thing. I used to manage. What? I used to manage a band and love live music. Thanks for inviting me this morning, Carl. Good vibes, Carl Munson. Wow. So she's a funker as well. A weekender in the Algarve. Bring it on. Should we go to Martin Jarl? Should we go really upmarket as well? Thank you, Carl and Elaine from Jim. Cheers, Jim. Portugal Soul Weekender happens every year. Oh, whoops, behind the times. People travel from the UK and all over the place. CJ Carlos, is he still going? Fantastic. I remember listening to him on, is it LWR on Pirate Radio in London? CJ Carlos. In between the fried chicken adverts, right? The Brothers Johnson Stomp. Oh, now you're talking. Brass Construction. Oh, yes. Portu Funkers Unite. They're all coming out of the closet now. Light of the world. London town. Should we do an Algarve version of that? Walking round everywhere from Lagos down to Sagres over there. Lee says, Andy Gilchrist, there's nothing like laying on the beach in Portugal, listening to some lovely Brit funk, Southern Freeze. Oh my goodness. And maybe some Martin Giraud and a bit of revival in the evening. It's a man cave ting tonight at 10 p.m. Just got here. Some of us have work to do. Yeah, okay, fair enough. You're excused, Lee. Wow, what a morning. We have some work to do, folks, and we have some funking to do as well, by the sound of it. Thank you all so very much. So just one more thing to share with you before we go out with the outro. And I don't know if he's going to forgive me or not for this, Jerry, but I've made a little video for you, Jerry, with Jerry's new catchphrase. This is what he is wont to say to people. Well, I'll play this, then I'll play the outro. Thank you so much. Bon fin de semana. Have a great time. Whatever we didn't get to show this morning, we will show on Monday. So make sure you join me on Monday and have yourselves a great weekend. Check Jerry out now. Watch this. See you in Portugal. That little sparkle there. Isn't that amazing? All right, folks. See you soon. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now. Beijinhos, abrazos.